There is no iconic. There's no iconic pendulum card.
Get out of my head! Today we're going to see what pendulum cards are iconic according to you guys. This is literally a video to shut the Yugi boomers up. Oh my god, I've gotten so many comments with the, oh, but there's no iconic pendulum cards. Shut up. Check this out. So I asked you all on Twitter, what iconic pendulum cards are there? And this was made before the announcement, so we were like, oh, okay, which one would be in the set? But something happened. If you want to see what happened, check out the last video up here in the eye icon. Though I still felt like we should talk about this mainly because of the fact that there are cards in here that are iconic that we may potentially get in a future set, which would be great if that was the case. But I very much doubt it. Let's wait until all the Konami staff that hate Pendulum leaves the company, and then once we get that staff, we'll be good. We'll be like extremely old by then, but like we'll get it. Or maybe Yugioh dies by then. So the card I found to be iconic for Pendulum is Harmonizing Magician. Harmonizing Magician is pretty much the face of Pendulum Edition. Maybe a double wires alongside it, but I feel like Harmonizing is the card that makes Pendulum Magician really good for the fact that you're able to summon one magician from deck, which is awesome. Honestly, I love this card. This is my favorite card of all time, and genuinely, if you're building a Pendulum Magician deck, you have to include this card every single time. Even if it's at 1 or 2, you gotta play it. It's a must. Now let's see what cards you decided to call iconic, which, I agree with a lot of them. So let's get into it. So Mars Cruz says, I'm not even a Pendulum fan, but this guy is iconic and still limited. I completely agree. And the craziest part about this card is the fact that a lot of people recognize it right away to be like, oh, this is one of the Pendulum cards. It's like when you see Endymion, it's Endymion level of like, oh, I know that card. That card's like insane. Mainly because this one has been in the ban list, so it's like people right away are like, oh, yeah, no, this is a good card. And it's not even good in Pendulum. It's like good with any deck that can destroy. You know what's funny? You can play this in Unchained. Try that out. Who knows? Let's see how that goes. Bragger Bagger says, I know there are arguments about a lot of the Pendulum Magicians, but outside of the obvious ones, I really feel like a lot of Pen decks owe a lot to Darkworm. He's been the real G. I feel so weird saying real G. From day one, and I love to see a QCR of him. He's the first thing I think of when I hear Pendulum now. Which honestly, yeah, ever since Darkworm came out, it's been really good. For the fact that you could play Dragon Shine, you can play Foolish Burial to send it, get yourself the Supreme King Gate 0. You don't get Supreme King Gate Magician yet because it wasn't released by then. But still, it was really good to just get the lowest scale possible. And yeah, no, it's really good. Genuinely, this card has been really good for the longest time. Helped a lot with the Pendulum Soup decks. It helps a lot with Pendulum Magician. If you were playing like a build which relied on you getting as many monsters on field, so you're able to start building up the negates and end up building your board, which is really cool. I love it. And also with Electromite, this card is insane for the fact that you can just special summon it. Then you normal summon a Pendulum Monster. Hey, you have Electromite. That's awesome. So honestly, yes, Darkworm I feel like has been a very iconic card throughout the years of Pendulum. And honestly, this is like a tiny version of Sark, but genuinely, I think this is more iconic than Sark. A lot of people remember Sark, but honestly, this one is probably more iconic than Sark. So yeah, this is a really good one. Okay, now we have multiple here from Femboy Yugioh. So we have Luster and Pepe, very important in the few formats where Pendulum were dominant, really iconic and powerful cards. Yes, Luster, Pendulum, Judaico Slayer, very iconic card as well, alongside of the Pendulum Sorcerer. Genuinely, these two cards are insane. Like, by the time that they came out, they were crazy. Like, especially, it created a tier 0 format. Of course they're crazy, We had Pepe, we had Draco Pals. That's genuinely crazy. Then, we have the Arch Phoenix Centric. The fact that Arch Phoenix Centric is, like this says right here, the first Pendulum staple cards that saw play in a lot of Pendulum decks and even non-Pendulum decks, because you're able to just plays like it was an MST, which was crazy because we didn't have Twin Twister, we didn't have like Harpy Featherduster legal at that point. You have some flexibility for the fact that you can just like put it on scale, destroy a spell or trap, or normal summon it, tribute it, and then destroy a monster. And Lunar Light Tiger. It was really important once Lunar Light got its support, and genuinely this card became a threat. This card even ended up getting banned for that reason. It was an enabler for a lot of rank 4, which was crazy back then. By back then I mean it was like when did the cards release? You know, right there. According to Laughodile, Curtain Raiser was way too much of a staple to be ignored. Yes, 100%. This card, anytime it like Pendulum has been somewhat relevant, this card is played. Like with back then when you had the Pendulum Soups, this was really good. Back when Tearlament came out, this was insane in Draco Slayer, which was crazy. Like genuinely such a good card. It helped you get into the Ignister, which is crazy. I love this card so much. And even now that you can realistically play it in Pendulum Magician, at a point I did consider playing it because this card gets you into a lot of stuff. I wish we had Electromite so this card could be good again, but sadly we don't have Electromite yet. But once we do, this card will see play again. Of course, you know, Pendulum won't be broken or anything, but it will see play on those decks, which that's what I want to say. You know, just want to let you know that Electromite can 100% come back. At this point, there's nothing to worry about. Literally, I'm not even kidding. We have Perform H Plush Fire. Yes, this card's very iconic. I completely agree with Malachia VT. Definitely, even with the new errata at this point, it should have a reprint with a QCR. Genuinely, this card is iconic. Definitely, it deserves it. You could even put Monkey Board in here, honestly. Though, fun fact, back when like it got banned, locals had the option to either run with the current ban list, that was the emergency ban list, or not roll with it, mainly because of the fact that they could pull their player bases from those locals to see if they wanted to play with the new format or not, and they wouldn't risk their OTS status by doing that. Genuinely the most interesting time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I would never have expected something like this to happen. Probably one of the most key moments in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is crazy. Jay says, I have a bias. Abyss Actor Superstar, a big Savatari fan. But still, okay, genuinely, the fact that this deck, Abyss Actor, has topped at some point, at a regionals at least, I would say, you know what, I'll go for it. I don't consider this one as iconic as the other ones, but still, it would be so funny if they add this, because it's like, you know what, I respect it at least, because you're thinking about us. That's cool. It's not like you're doing this. If you bring something like this, I'm coming to your house. Hey, you hear that? Fun fact, I actually do not like Cleaforts, but I do consider them to be iconic. So yes, I do agree with Eevee Sei Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely, this card is 100% iconic. As the first tiered Pendulum strategy in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, and being part of the beloved Triangle format in early Arc V, Clifford Scout deserves to be in that slot if a pen card ever gets one. Yes, I agree, 100%. If this is the only one, I'm completely fine, because it makes sense, because it is a very historic moment for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because this was the first ever competitive Pendulum deck. Even though Skill Drain Turbo, but you know, that aside. Mutek says, the funny horse. Yes, the horse is very funny. But honestly, yes, Kieran deserves it. This card is genuinely a very cool card. It's not that great anymore, though. Back when it came out, it was insane. This was a card to look out for. Bumbuku is also another card that definitely deserves it. So yeah, that's great. Fanboy Yu-Gi-Oh! Has also put a honorable mention, and that is Wavering Eyes. That, honestly, this card is so insane back when it came out, because of the fact that people would be playing Pendulum Mirrors and you would activate this and you would get that third effect, which the third effect is 3 or more, you could banish one card on the field. So you pretty much would plus by destroying their scales. and your own scale, then banishing one card they control, which is so crazy. And also, if there were 4 scales right there, you could just add the Wavering Eyes, which is so insane. It's crazy. As Fanboy Yu-Gi-Oh says, one of the most powerful cards in its Pandera. Huge part of the game for being so meta-defining. Artwork is absolutely amazing. Tremendous card. I love it. Yes, I love this card as well. Genuinely, this card is amazing. I'm saying genuinely a lot. I should stop saying genuinely. I'm genuinely surprised that none of you said Endymion the Mighty Master. This card is iconic as well. This is the paragraph card. This is the card that people write essays about. This is iconic. I'm going to be ending off the video right here before I die off a heat stroke. And thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for being Pendulum players. Let's go.
Thank you.